Hello everyone, this is Tim. Sorry for the bad format here. I'm just going to use my webcam. Don't have a lot of time before work. Kind of dropping the ball on my high quality 2012, but I don't know. A video is better than no video, I guess, sometimes. So I saw a video post by Tetsubo, and he's asking 20 questions that I assume are more D20 related. And I'm going to go through and answer these based on my OSR Old School Renaissance Labyrinth Lord game, Darv's Hill, that I'm running right now. So, as I'm answering these, this isn't how I always do it, because I don't really have a lot of things that I always do. I switch things up from campaign to campaign. I mess with dials and knobs and levers. But just for the sake of this video, I'm going to focus on that. So the first question, ability scores, generation method. The way that I do that is quite simple. It's 3d6, straight down, no modification. I do have retainers in the game, however, so I'll let you roll like 2 or 3 sets, maybe drop the third set. One's going to be your retainer stats, one's going to be your main character stats. And I do let the players play their retainers. Unless it doesn't make sense, then I take over. Number 2, how are death and dying handled? In Labyrinth Lord, you hit 0 hit points, you're dead. There's no unconscious, you're dead. That being said, in the campaign, I've given every character a healing amulet that pops automatically whenever you hit 0 hit points. So everyone is basically given once per day in game, like a second chance. Like, oh crap, I almost died. I should probably hide or drink healing potions, that sort of thing. How about Raising the Dead? Raising the Dead has not happened in my Darv's Hill game as of yet. I think that would only be available if you were a high enough level cleric to pull that off, or if you had lots of money to go pay someone to do it. But it would be very rare. Just recently, a bunch of them got turned to stone. They had to travel to the closest city to even find someone that could do that, and they had to pay a lot of money. So bringing back from the dead would be even more expensive. So expensive and rare. Number 4, how are replacement PCs handled? In the Darv's Hill game, I start everyone out at first level. That might sound incredibly harsh, but it seems to be working very well. It lets people know that if their character dies, that's going to be a problem. Also, though, my retainers are sort of like an XP bank. Your main character gets full XP, and your retainer gets half XP. So, like for instance, Grunka was a main character of one of my players, Jeff, and he has Thimple, the halfling, that's his retainer. Well, Grunka died face-to-face with a lich, and so his new character is Thimple. But Thimple had half the XP that Grunka did, so he's not going to start out at first level. So that's kind of my way in this campaign of handling that. Initiative, individual, group, or something else. I've really enjoyed the old school Dungeons & Dragons group initiative system, where you literally, I roll 1d6 for the monsters, and someone from the party, it tends to move around the table a little bit, will roll the d6 for everyone at the table. And what I really like about this is that it really seems to let the players coordinate efforts, do something at the same time. 3 or 4 characters going up and like pushing a beam to open a door, or just working together seems to happen a lot more often. It's not like, well, I'm holding my initiative till it's your initiative, and then I don't know. It seems it's a lot less gamey. It's like, okay, it's your turn. What does everybody do? And everyone sort of talks it through. I don't really use the breakdown of combat that is listed in the Labyrinth Lord game. I'm more simplistic about it, but I just like the way it feels and works, and it's very cooperative. Number 6, are there critical hits and fumbles? How do they work? Critical hits, yes. You basically just do double damage. Fumbles, I don't know if the only fumble rule I really use is when someone is firing into combat, which I guess is later, but if you roll a 1, you just hit one of your friends automatically. Number 7, do I get any benefits for wearing a helmet? Tetsubo made a great point that helmets should protect you. There's been a couple times where someone would have been wearing a helmet, someone put their ear up to a door, and there was mummy rot on that door. They wouldn't have got it. Things, if they fall down from above, if someone says they have a helmet, that could make your character have a huge injury or just a headache. So I would definitely, if someone says they have a helmet in certain situations, I would make that matter. Number 8, can I hurt my friends if I fire into melee or I do something similarly silly? Yes, I already talked about friendly fire rules. I really like friendly fire rules. It just seems to make sense to me. I don't know. I just love the drama that brings about. You know, you're in this deadly situation and then you get shot in the back of the head by one of your friends. I just think that's great. Okay. Will we need to run from some encounters, or will we be able to kill everything? I strongly believe that you should be able to run whenever you want to, whenever you need to. In the encounter with the Lich, for instance, I kind of stepped out of the game, and I'm like, okay, guys, do you run away? I just asked them that. And in those situations, that kind of tells the players it's dangerous, but they went ahead and did it anyway, and it was pretty heroic. Somebody did die, but it was pretty memorable. So I think running away should be a viable option. I did a video about that. Number 10, level draining monsters, yes or no? Yes, but I use them infrequently, and they tend to be, I just use them sparingly. I don't want that to happen all the time. And I kind of agree that it shouldn't be permanent, but if it is permanent, that puts a layer of fear into the player as well as the character. So that's something to be said. 11, are there going to be cases where a failed save results in PC death? The simple answer is yes. Number 12, how strictly are encumbrance and resources tracked? Not as much as I might have liked. I don't like the accounting feel of that. I've kind of hand-waved encumbrance for the most part, unless it doesn't make sense. If you're trying to carry 5,000 pounds of gold or something, it ain't going to happen. I think a lot of the players in my game are actually more worried about that than I am, and they seem to enjoy that, so I let that happen. Number 13, what's required when my PC gains a level? Training, do I get new spells automatically? Can it happen in the middle of an adventure, or do I have to wait for downtime? I tend to like just being able to, I don't really see it as training, I just see it as life experience. The things that you've gone through help you out. With spells and such, I have done it where they can only learn spells that they found. They don't just pop into their head, unless you're playing like 3rd edition with sorcerers or with clerics, because they're getting from their gods. Okay. 14, what do I get experience for? At first in my Darkseid game, I was really trying to do it by the book. You get a lot of XP. You get more XP for gold than killing things, which is something that if you've never played an old school game, you don't really understand. Like, what do you mean I get XP for gold? So if you can figure out a way to get around the monster without killing it, you defeat the monster, so you get the XP for the monster, and you get the XP for the gold, which I like. The game I'm running is kind of a meat grinder too, even though I guess I don't always like it that way, but it's been fun. It's a different way of playing, and I'm enjoying it. 15, how are traps located? Description or dice rolling or some combination? It's mostly dice rolling, but sometimes I will describe something in such a way that it should be a red flag to the player, so they're like, oh, wait a minute, that sounds deadly. And there have been some various deadly traps that they have avoided by using 10-foot poles, being extra cautious, just making sure they're not in the way when something comes out to stab them in the face. And I know Andrew has done a video about traps and how he doesn't like them, but for this style of gaming, I think it fits. If you're doing a dungeon crawl, traps are just as deadly as monsters. Let's see here. 16, are retainers encouraged, and how does morale work? I haven't really been using the morale rules all that much. I plan to use them more in the future, but I let my player characters play their main character and a retainer. So they're almost playing 2 characters, which sometimes can be quite humorous, especially if the players are into that. Gives them something more to do, because I know when I'm a player, I feel like I don't have enough to do, so I think that helps, especially when a lot of them are GMs. There are situations, though, where if they try to get their retainer to do something and it's kind of dangerous, they might not do it. So I've kind of spoken about that in the past. If they do hire more people on, not just that one retainer, just actual NPCs that they pay to come help them out, I will probably use morale system a lot more. How do I identify magic items? This is interesting because none of the characters in the game had the identify spell. And so a lot of it was trial and error. If they used it for a while and they saw what it did, I would eventually tell them, because they could kind of tell, well, this hits a little bit better, does a little bit more damage. It seems to burn snake creatures for some reason. So, after they've experienced it for a while, I tend to give it to them. There are ways for them to identify it. Again, they can go to the big city and have it identified for money, but that's a long ways away and kind of out of the, it's not really convenient. 18, can I buy magic items? No. You have to go into the dungeon to find them. They might be able to buy some healing potions at some point, but that would be the maximum for that. And it says, oh, come on, how about just potions? Even potions I don't have in the small town right now. There might be an NPC that comes from the city at some point and sets up shop, but it would just be very minor healing potions. So they have to find those as well. And they basically have to kill the creatures before the creatures drink them, which is something to be said. Because, if you're fighting a creature and it's dying and it has healing potions, it's going to drink them. Can I create magic items? When and how? Currently, I don't allow that in my campaign, and there really aren't rules for that. Might be in the future, depending on if I have any wizard characters, so they don't seem to last very long, or magic users, and what they find in the dungeon. What about splitting the party? The way I kind of look at it, in my current campaign, it would probably be pretty deadly for them to do so. It'd also make more work for me, but if they wanted to do that, I would be perfectly fine with that. All I would just say to the players is, you do realize, if I'm dealing with these guys over here, I'm not really going to be dealing with you guys as much. I'm going to try to split my time. So there's something to be said about the amount of time in a campaign. So that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'm still having a lot of fun running my Darby's Hill game, and I'll be running it this Saturday too. Okay, sorry for the lack of posting. I'll try to do more of that. I'll see you guys later.